2023 is going to be a prove-it year for Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss, and with all the returning talent that he has, he could be doing some legitimate damage in the SEC. He brings back a key player at an important position, and you think I'm going to say Quinshon Judkins here, but it's actually Jaxon Dart. I know that they went and got Spencer Sanders. I know that they went and got Will Howard, but Jaxon Dart to me is knocked far too much, and it's anticipated that he's going to lose this quarterback job, which I don't think is going to be the case. Dart did enough to keep this offense on schedule, and I think as he continues to improve, he is the right man to get this offense where it needs to be. The main focus, though, as I said, is Quinshon Judkins, who has been one of the best running backs in the SEC. It might be the best returning running back in all of the SEC for 2023. He was explosive as a freshman, and he is going to be even more of a problem for defenses to stop, especially with an offensive mind like Lane Kiffin scheming up yards for him. They also added plenty of talent through the transfer portal on the offensive side of the ball, especially Zachary Franklin, who they added late, who is going to be a strong, consistent receiver in this offense that they got from UTSA. I also want to acknowledge that the defensive side of the ball for Ole Miss deserves more recognition for their expectations and capabilities of what they can do in 2023. I know that the way that Pete Golding left Alabama, you hear from Alabama fans, he is the worst defensive coordinator ever. He's one of the worst in the time under Nick Saban. But the reality is Pete Golding is still a great, great defensive mind. He is coming in with talent on the defensive side of the football, particularly Jared Ivey and Cedric Johnson, who I think could be very disruptive defensive linemen in 2023. But how do we think this team is going to do? And let's take a look at their schedule. Mercer, first game, easy win. No questions asked. FCS opponent. They're very mediocre. They've got a couple dudes, but they are not going to do enough damage to slow down Ole Miss. Tulane, though, as high as I've been on Tulane throughout this preseason process, and as much as I liked them last year, they can maybe scare Ole Miss a little bit, kind of like Troy did last year. They can give them a little bit of a closer game than we might expect, but Ole Miss is going to win that football game. They've got too many athletes on both sides of the ball that they will end up coming out with the victory. Georgia Tech, not going to be a challenge. Brent Key has a lot of work to do with that roster and reshaping things. Ole Miss is just too explosive. Fourth game of the season, though, Uncle Nick is who they have to face off with. They have to travel to Alabama. And even if things are going terribly wrong for Alabama, this is still such a hard, difficult task to overcome for an improving Ole Miss team. Not an elite roster, but an improving Ole Miss team. I predict that this is going to be one of their losses. That then puts them at 3-1. Now, if they're trying to get back on their feet, it doesn't help that they have to come back home and take on LSU. LSU is not going to be a winnable game for them. I think that they're going to do a lot of good things this upcoming season, and that they're going to be contending for the SEC title and probably going to lose to Georgia, but that is going to be a very difficult task for them to come out with a victory. Arkansas, they then return to a more easily defeatable opponent. That's at home. That's a victory. So they're at 4-2 right now, 6 games into the season. Auburn, Hugh Freeze is going to try and get things rolling in his first year. I don't think that's going to really happen. That is then their 5th win, 5-2. Vanderbilt, I know that we can talk positively about them. They finished the season strong, but still, it's Vanderbilt, 6-2. Texas A&M, I am out on Jimbo Fisher. This is not going to be a good year for them. 7-2 for Ole Miss, give them the victory. Georgia, at Georgia. Enough said. I'm not going to go deep on that one. It's Georgia. You're traveling to Georgia. They might be undefeated next year. So that then places them at 7-3. They then finish out the season with ULM, who's not very competitive, so we can count that as an easy dub, 8-3. And then lastly, the Egg Bowl, Mississippi State. I know that Mississippi State won last year, but to deal with all the offseason adversity that they had, I have to give this to Ole Miss, and I think that Ole Miss, again, is improving, is looking so much better in 2023. So that, for me, my final record prediction is 9-3. If you think I'm wrong, drop a comment below. And also, if you like this video, make sure you hit subscribe. I just want to tell you folks about an exciting new partnership that we have with this channel with Underdog Fantasy. Ever since I joined, I've been having so much fun. There are so many different exciting games that make watching games during the offseason more exciting. I'm not the biggest basketball fan, but it has made it way more entertaining since I found Underdog Fantasy. And my favorite game to play so far, which I think you should try out, is Pick'em. It is so easy to play. Just pick higher or lower on your favorite player's stats, and you can win up to 20 times your money in a single night. Underdog keeps it simple with their easy-to-use website and mobile apps. Pick between 2 and 5 players to fill out your pick'em slip, get every pick right, and take home some cold hard cash. Use code HACK, 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 like the name of this channel. Use code HACK to get your first deposit doubled up to $100 by Underdog. Go sign up. You won't regret it. You're going to have a blast. Check out Underdog Fantasy. I also want to tell you folks about our other recurring sponsor that we have on this channel, that being BetOnline, betonline.ag, which is all the updated odds, news, and anything for sports betting. It's my go-to source for when I want to be betting specifically on games. I love betting on college basketball or the NBA, especially, again, during the offseason. Always looking for more fun ways to be focused in on some of these other sports. It's betonline.ag and use promo code BELIEVE50. It's promo code BELIEVE50 to get 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts.